लागे लगन पति सके लागे लगन पति सके लागे लगन पति सके लागे परम सुखाति आनंदन परम सुखाति आनंदन लागे लगन पति सके सने लागे लगन पति सके सने लगन पति सके लागे लगन पति सके लागे पति सके परम सुखाति आनंदन परम सुखाति आनंदन लागे लगन पति सके लागे लगन पति सके लागे लगन पति
Namaskar. Welcome to Kalakar's Guru Shishya Parampara. We started the program with my Guruji, Pandit A. Kanan's world famous Hamsadhwani. Something that we never forget, we cannot forget, because even today, my honorable guest mentioned that Lagi Lagan Hanswadhwani, nobody else could sing as my Guruji. So simple, but heart-touching. Every time I hear this Lagi Lagan, I'm unable to stop my tears. So before I be emotional today to start the program, let me welcome my guest. But thank you all so much for being there. You all know that we have started this journey of celebrating my Guruji's centenary since April this year. And so far, all the great maestros, upcoming musicians, my fellow musicians have joined me, supported me all the way through. Without your support and love, and my audience worldwide, without you, it was not possible for me to continue with this journey and reaching today for the 45th Facebook live session. Navratri has just started yesterday, an auspicious moment, and I'm honored, I'm blessed to have a living legend with us today. To Kalakar, to all our team members, he is beyond any Padma awards, the senior most tabla maestro. Let us welcome. This is his first Facebook Live, by the way, so you can imagine how honored we all are, not only me as the founder and CEO of Kalakar Arts, but to my worldwide audience. This is just the opportunity that we cannot miss. Please let us welcome, with great respect, the senior most living legend in the world of tabla, joining us all the way from San Francisco, Padmashree Pandit Swapan Chaudhuri.
Namaskar.
Pranam Kaku.
It's really a great honor for me
that you can say that Kananda was like my mentor. He was a person who always used to give me suggestion, advice, and always used to say, have patience. I will come to that later on, but you have to introduce other people in your board or whoever it's there. So I will come to that later on. But thank you again to invite me for this. This is great. I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
It's our honor and it's a blessing, Kaku, to have you here on Kalakar's platform.
Thank you.
Let me now welcome Junior Chaudhuri, Sri Nilan Chaudhuri. He is also joining us from San Francisco. And as we discussed yesterday, he said he's learning Bengali. So I thought I'll speak to Nilan in Bengali and I'll talk to Swapan Kaku in English. Let's welcome Sri Nilan Chaudhuri. কি খবর নীলান, কেমন আছো?
Cholchi, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Let me now welcome my co-panel artist today, Hindol Mojumdar, my great friend, joining us from Calcutta. Hindol, hello.
Pranam Kaku. Pranam Nilan. Hello Nilan.
নীলানের সঙ্গে বাংলায় কথা বলবে।
হ্যাঁ নীলান কেমন আছো?
আমি ভালো আছি দাদা। আপনি কেমন আছেন? ঠিক আছে।
আপনি কেমন আছেন জিজ্ঞেস করেছে বাংলায়।
ও আমি ভালো আছি। Thank you for asking me.
কামলবীর জি,
হিন্দল তোমার আওয়াজটা একটু কম আছে।
আচ্ছা।
হ্যাঁ, নীলান just increase your sound a little bit. Kamalveer ji, a great violinist in UK. Kamalveer ji, namaskar.
Namaskar ji, namaskar. Namaskar Guruji.
Namaskar.
And I have Kalakar's project director, a well-known oncologist in UK, Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed.
Namaskar.
Before I start, I can see all my audience have already joined us from all over the world. Let me just read a couple of comments here. Shilpi Didi, Shilpi Ravi is saying, Amra Bhishwan Anandito, Dhonnobad, Kalakar Arts. Dodul join করেছেন বাংলাদেশ থেকে, অনিন্দিতা মিত্র, my pranam to the great maestro. A brilliant evening with Pandit Swapan Chaudhuri. Nabanita Chaudhuri বলছেন pranam to Swapan Dada. Vishwajit Chakraborty, Siddhartha Kargupta joining us from Mumbai. Hello Siddhartha. Guruji, we miss you. We miss you. That's what Siddhartha is saying. Yes, absolutely. Mom Ganguly, Nandini Banerjee, hello everyone for joining us today. It's a great honor, it's a great opportunity for Kalakar Arts, for me to have the living legend with us. And he's such a wonderful person, I tell you. I have never met Swapan Kaku face to face, but we have had interaction and we have had the sound check yesterday, and I could see, as Guruji used to say, to be a great musician, you have to be a good human being first. So that's what I can see from Swapan Kaku. Kaku, please tell us about your experience meeting Guruji and going to Gokul Bagan, Roads, Bari and all that. We are very eager to know from you.
Yeah, this started a long time ago. It was during the time in, I would say, the mid-60s. How it happened, my father, who is a doctor, and he has a clinic where he used to attend in Lansdowne Road, near the Lansdowne Road Market. And somehow or other got to know Kananda, and they became a very good friend. And my father became the family physician to Kananda. And so when Kananda came to know that I play tabla, and that was a time when I just played with Ali Akbar Khan Sahab, my first concert in Tanshan, 1969. And so Kananda suggested my father to send me to Bokul Bagan. And he said that Swapan also needs to know how to play with vocal music. He needs to have that experience. And that's how I used to go over there. And from the very first day, I felt this man was such a wonderful human being, such a lovely person, so full of love. And it's kind of person who only wants to give you. In return, he doesn't want anything from you.
Yeah.
And I was really got attached to him. And he was kind of like my mentor, always mentoring me, always giving me good advice. At that time, I was just coming out, just finished my uh, general education, did my master's in economics and came out. And I was thinking of entering into my music business, like playing in the musical conferences and stuff. But Kananda always used to tell me that, when the right time will come, you'll be there. But right now, this is your time to practice, focus on your practice and learning. Don't think about when you go on the stage, because when you go on the stage, you won't find that time to practice like what you used to before. So this is your time. And he was just when I think about that, I think like what he did, like what father will do it or my guru will do it. So Kananda did that for me, and I'm really grateful to him. I miss him very much. And whenever I hear that song, it just takes me back to those time. Things were very different during that time. The whole music scene was very different. What we are seeing now, it was not like that during that time. And then he started introducing me with different artists and pushing me to play with those maestros. It was because of Kananda. I played with Pandit Krishna Rao Shankar Pandit, the old generation, Rampur Gharana, and then Mallikarjun Mansoor. There's old people, and I had such an experience. And not only that, he said that how you should behave yourself on the stage if you are accompanying with the senior most artist. And these are the things that that we should, all musicians should learn. This is not a bad thing. This is good thing, and this is our culture. And I think I learned a lot. And when you mentioned that word, actually that word, Kananda also told me that same word. That if you want to be a good musician, first thing is that you have to be a good human being. Your inside has to be clean so that when the music will come through you, it will be clean and nice.
Absolutely.
And it will touch everybody's heart. And since then, my whole attitude started changing, because I was little rough type of person at that time. But it was Kananda definitely molded me. And then after that, I used to go to their house. And then Malvika Bodhi, I used to play with her too a lot. And we did travel a lot. We played together a lot. We had fun. It was beautiful memory I have with Kananda.
It's so good to hear, because I didn't know Guruji when they were at Bokul Bagan Road. I started living with Guruji at Sangeet Research Academy. That was, I think, 84, 85, that time. Then I started staying in Guruji's house and, as a scholar. And then of course the প্রথম কথাই গুরুজি বলেছিলেন আগে ভালো মানুষ হও, তবেই তো রেওয়াজ করতে পারবে, তবেই তো গানটা ঠিক করে আসবে, এত কিছু
Yeah.
বোঝাতেন। তখন ছোট বয়সে এত কিছু তো বুঝতাম না, কিন্তু এখন প্রতি মুহূর্তে ফিল করি যে আসলে গুরুজির কথাগুলো কত অমূল্য ছিল।
Oh, so he was a genius, no doubt about it. I have seen in my life so many musicians, but Kananda always will be in my heart because his contribution towards the music is immense, particularly in our Bengal, whatever he has done. But sometimes I feel bad because, you know, he was a good person, good human being. The recognition what he should have been given,
Absolutely.
he never got that, you know, and it was sad. It was sad and upsetting, and I'm very happy that you are doing this in memory of Kananda. I'm telling you from my heart that I'm very touched that you are doing it, and people.
Thank you.
People should do it everywhere. He had so many students. They should start doing it, and so that the person will be alive. You know, his music, his thoughts. People will talk about him so that the person will be there, and I think it is important.
Thank you, Kaku. Let me just join my co-panelist. I'm sure they have a lot to ask, a lot to say. And then, of course, we want to hear Nilan. We want to hear Nilan's tabla. আর কাকু তো বলেইছেন যে কাকুর যখন ইচ্ছে হবে কাকু আমাদেরকে আশীর্বাদ করবেন একটু বাজনা দিয়ে। আমি জানি গুরুজিও ভীষণ খুশি হবেন কাকুকে আজকে দেখে, ভীষণ খুশি হচ্ছেন। I always feel that Guruji is there. I always feel his presence around me. So I'm sure Guruji and Guruma both are watching us and feeling very happy.
লাগি লাগানে গানটা ওটা আমার এত প্রিয় গান। তো যখনই করন্দার সঙ্গে আমি বাজিয়েছি আমার ওই রিকোয়েস্টটা থাকতো। Always I had that request on him that could you please sing Lagi Lagana? And he always used to, sometimes he used to get a little upsetting, you know, and he's saying, "Are ki je tum kar are এটা তো সব সময় খালিও লাগি লাগানে লাগি আরে but he used to sing always whenever I used to tell him this. And there was another bandish I don't remember in Sudhakaliya. Was mind blowing. That was also very nice. So anyway, so I would like to hear from our guest.
Thank you, Kaku. Shall we start, Kaku, with your permission? Shall we start with a little bit of music from Nilan?
Yeah, if Nilan wants to do it.
Nilan, would you like to play something for all of us and especially for my Guruji?
Yes, please.
Can you go a little bit back so that we can see your tabla? Yeah. Now your head is getting cut.
Now the head is cutting off, Nilan.
Yeah. Go back a little bit.
That's much better. Yeah, thank you.
Very
Thank you very much,
Thank
Nilan.
you so much.
Kaku, Dr. Sid Kargupta, who is one of the NEDs of Kalakars, he's in Mumbai at the moment. He's asking the Shud Kalyan Bandish. Was it Bajo Re Bajo? Is that the one you were
No,
mentioning?
no, that is Bajo Re Bajo is very common.
Mm.
Not that one.
Okay, we'll probably remember it later on. Okay, Kamal Viji, Imtiazda, and Hindol, over to you. I'm sure you have a lot to ask, and we all have a lot to learn from Kaku.
so.
नमस्कार जी. ओके, you carry on first. आप
No,
बोलिए.
no, no. Carry on,
मजुमदार जी, आप पहले बोले.
please. Please, you please carry on. You are
Kamal
speaking.
Viji,
Okay.
आप
ना
बोलिए
मैंने
पहले.
तो आज तो अच्छा चलिए. आज तो ज्यादा बोलने का हमारा दिन नहीं है. आज तो इनको सुनने का है और इनकी बातें सुनने का दिन है. मैं तो यही कह सकता हूँ कि 70s में मैंने जब आपको पहली बार सुना था, मे भी 71 72 की बात होगी है, और कुछ भी इवन है. सो मैं तो तभी से आपका बिल्कुल ही इतना बड़ा आपका भगत बन गया कि तबले में, क्योंकि पहले जनरेशंस के जो तबला गुदई महाराज थे या जितने भी पहले तबले वाले थे, लारा खां साहब वगैरह, जब आपका सुनना तो एक अलग ही अंग दिखा और एक अलग ही तैयारी, एक अलग ही नयापन दिखा आपके तबले में मुझे. और हमारे जहां मैं रहा करता था भोपाल में, मैं तो उस समय टीनेजर था. आई वाज प्रोबेबली 17 18 एट दैट टाइम. एंड वहां पे हमारे बैनर्जी बंधु, मिस्टर बैनर्जी जो सितार बजाते थे, अलाउद्दीन खान साहब के शागिर्द थे, और उनके शायद दो ब्रदर्स आप जानते होंगे, एक सरोद बजाते थे और एक चंद्र सारंग बजाते थे. तो उन्होंने आपका इंट्रोडक्शन हमको दिया था, और आप फिर कंसर्ट्स आपकी हमने सुनी, लाइव कंसर्ट सुनी. आपको मैंने यहाँ इंग्लैंड में भी सुना है, यहाँ दरबार फेस्टिवल में शायद आप आए थे, तब सुना था आपको. तो योर तबला सोलो इज समथिंग, इज सो सिस्टमैटिक. जैसे वो गाने में अलाप जोड़ झाला जैसे डेवलप होता है, एंड योर वे ऑफ डेवलपिंग द सोलो पार्ट इज सो ब्यूटीफुल that it's just very unique. So, or tone to आपकी, we all know that you have amazing tone in your tabla. So I don't know what else to say to you. That I'm biggest fan of yours.
Thank you so much. The thing is that again it comes back to Kananda. You know that besides talking about music, but he talked so many different angles, so many different subjects. For example, when he said that to me one day, because at that time all the legends were there in the all the conferences were whenever I used to go, all the top legends. And Kananda always used to tell me that, listen, you should go and attend those concerts, listen to all the legends, how they are playing, but don't try to imitate them. Because remember, music is so vast that you don't need to imitate. You can create your own style. You can, but only thing is that you need to think about it. And this is the time for you that you should culture those things and create your own identity, so that you play one stroke, people will tell that this is Swapan Chaudhuri. So you have to create that. Regarding the system, he also told me that, look, tabla is a subject. It is not only for accompaniment purpose, but tabla is also a solo instrument. And the subject matter is so vast. So, like in vocal music, like in instrumental music, there is a process, there is a grammar, rules and regulation is there. And so when you play in tabla solo, you have to maintain that system. Don't break the system. and and don't think that, well, the other people are, breaking that rule, so why do I have to maintain it? Because you want to maintain your own approach, your own style, so you maintain that, and then people will remember you. And this, I'm just answering your question, or not
Yes,
question,
yes,
but what you just said. It is because of that particular
yes.
that man who always used to guide me. And not only that, and sometimes Kananda used to tell me, bring yourself down. It looks like you feel like you are a big shot, but you are not. In the music, you cannot be. You have to be humble and uh, and surrendering means, I said, surrendering to who?
Yes,
But surrendering
yes,
to your music, because music is like God, and you have to surrender yourself.
yes,
Then you can reach to that level.
yes.
So and it's
Absolutely,
very
absolutely.
true. And particularly now, because I'm not young anymore, I feel that. I feel that attachment. I feel that, sometimes nowadays what I see is that, well, I have a concert, and that's the reason I have to practice, so that I cannot get stuck on the stage. After the concert, then 2 days, 3 days, no practice, because I don't have any concert, which means that I am using my music. In order to play a concert, I have to practice. No, practice is for
Mm,
yourself.
no,
It's like a good food.
absolutely.
It's for yourself
That's
to
right.
to boost all your energies, whatever it's there, analyzing, thinking. Because if you stop practicing, it's not that you are practicing because so that you can play fast. No, 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 no. It has nothing to do. Practice is like you are praying to your music. You are surrendering to your
Yes,
music. To You are bowing down to your music. You are showing your love,
yes,
and it is 100%. If you can give your music this much of love, in return you get this much. So,
yes.
and we have to, uh, follow that, and we have to understand that what is practice means. Practice does not mean that don't try to use your music, and so, and these
Or
are the things what I have seen. I am very
yes,
fortunate. The time when I was born, I have seen all these legends. I have seen their lifestyle. I have seen how they used to think about the music. I have seen the sufferings, uh, all the musicians, in order to establish themselves. Um, so it was I had seen that, and I'm fortunate. I had gone through that, and it gave me a big lesson, as well as um, how to love my music. So it taught me that too. So I'm very fortunate that I have my guru.
आपने बहुत अच्छी बातें बताई हैं. This is absolutely true that you are actually devoted to your music. It's like worshipping. रोज पूजा करनी है तो रोज
Yeah,
करनी है. It's
yeah,
like that. I mean, you just can't कि कोई मुसीबत आएगी तो आज भगवान को याद कर लें. Other time we are fine. It's not like that. You have to
yeah,
do every day. You have to incorporate that into your life.
right.
That's
It's like
absolutely beautiful
it's like it's like
described.
in the music field. What I also see that discipline. You have to discipline yourself. If you
Mhm.
want to be that category of musician, then you have to discipline yourself. Means um, your dedication, your honesty towards your music has to be very pure, and otherwise, you cannot reach to that level. And that's what I was
Sure.
saying. That I have gone through. I have seen all these people. Let me tell you one story about Tarkwa Khan.
Mhm.
Sharkar Khan Sahib had this concert in Tansen Music Conference in Mahajati Sadan. And this is, I'm talking about uh, 71, something like that. And Sharkar Khan Sahib had one Shishya, Chanu Ganguly, who used to live in Kalighat near our house. So Chanu told me that why don't you come? So we'll go together with Khan Sahib and you can listen to him, and then we'll come back together because Sharkar Khan Sahib was staying with him. So anyway, I went with him and I heard him playing. It's just that tone, that stroke is still in my ear. After we came back, it was like 3:30 in the morning, and Tirpa Khan Sahib said that, could you make a cup of tea for me? And it is a big glass. And so he drank the tea, and it was like, by that time, it was like 4:15. And so Chanu Babu said that, Khan Sahib, you must be very tired. So why don't you just take a rest? And he got freaked out. He got so angry. He said, but please, you are asking me to take a rest now? This is mera riyawaz ka time. This is my practice time. The sun is coming out. Bring my tabla. And this man, 2 hours he practiced. And after that, he said, now I will take rest. So what I'm trying to say here, it's the dedication, it's the love for his music.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely wonderful stories. That's what I was eagerly waiting to know. All these stories from Kaku, and it's so much we are going to learn about Kaku's Lucknow Gharana and the techniques and how a lot of questions. Hindol, over to you. I know you have a very interesting question. I know.
Actually, questioning Kaku is always um, a big thing for me, but I would say I grew up listening to Kaku. I first, when I started listening to concerts at the age of maybe 8 or 9, I first listened to Kaku, and most of the time Kaku used to come to our town, Sirampur, where I belong, and there used to be a conference. I think Kaku, you remember that Sirampur Sangit Samaj, where you almost every year used to play from the late 70s till the mid 80s. Because
The whole night concert hoto na Srirampure?
Srirampure.
Whole
So
night
that
concert.
time I was fortunate enough to listen to Kaku's some marvelous performances with Pandit Manilal Nagji in Srirampur Rajbari. And then I was also present in that concert, that epic concert, I would say, of Pandit Ravi Shankar ji and him and Indranil Bhattacharya together in 1982. And then in 1986, again Pandit ji, and then Kaku with with Pandit Deepak Chaudhuri also, who is no more today. But I have been really fortunate. But at that time, we just started, ABCD, not even that of tabla. So my mother used to always give example of Kaku. The reason behind is my my father was a very much learned man, and he was a bookish person. So he never wanted me to take tabla as a profession. So he used to tell me, see, you have to be like Kaku, because I know Kaku is a master's in economics from the Jadavpur University also. So my question to Kaku is that when I used to just listen to my mother and father when I was a kid, and I tried to do the same, but I could not do studies up to after my graduation. I left. But you went up to the masters in economics, and that too from a great university like Jadavpur University. I would like to know from Kaku that being a professional musician, like a tabla player of his range, how can somebody balance studies and music at the same time, in the basically during the teenage time, when people try to decide which line or which stream they would like to go. So it is my request to Kaku that if he can guide everybody, and everybody should listen to this, even the juniors who are, I am also a student of music, and even my son and others who are still studying, they should listen to this, and I would like Kaku to tell about that. So Kaku, please tell us about how you used to do this when you were a kid in your age.
Well, the answer is very simple. Simple in the sense that it is the discipline. If you can discipline yourself, when people say that, well, it is difficult for me to do music and my studies, it is, I have so much homework, this and that. I don't buy that, or I don't agree with it, because within 24 hours, if you say that you have no time, 2 hours, within 24 hours, you don't get 2 hours. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
It is, you have to find that time, and you can find the time. But the thing is, you have to ask yourself what you want to do. If you decide, no, I want to play tabla and I want to practice tabla, nobody could stop you. You will find your own time,
Right.
and then according to that, you follow that, and that's what I did. It was just a discipline. Yes, of course. My father was also very, very strict. He was a very strict person, very strict disciplinarian. And but whatever he did, and I followed that, and it paid me back. I remember in when I was in my final exam uh, in my master's. I took this paper, special paper in economics. It's called econometrics. It's all
Oh,
mathematical solution to solve the economic problems. Anyway, so I was a whole day I was into that and studying. And in the evening, my father came back from the hospital to after his round finished. Then he came back. He opened my door. He even didn't ask me how you doing, how's your preparation. You have final exam tomorrow. How everything is okay? Didn't ask me anything. First thing he said, he just looked at me, and then he said, "Did you practice today?" And I was so angry. I was so angry. But during that time in India, we cannot say anything to our parents. Whatever they say, we have to follow that. But I was so angry. That was the only one time I told him back. I talked to him back, saying, "Do you think that I will be a tabla player? Tabla will be my profession, and I will earn my money playing tabla and support you guys? Forget that. I'm not going to do that. I love tabla, but I'm not going to take my tabla as my profession." He said, "That's in the future, but go and practice."
oof.
So it is his order. Okay. So I did. I went there, I sat there, practiced 1 hour. But what happened? After that, when I came back to my studies, I felt like, man, this is so easy. Why I was struggling with it? Because that music took me a different, it kind of releases all the problems I was going through. It made me, it kind of refreshed me. And things were fine. Next day, it was all fine. So, but what I did to my father, one day he was telling me, I don't get to see you nowadays because you are so busy. When you are in India, you are today you are playing here, tomorrow you are playing there. You say, I don't get to see you. Whenever you are home, you are surrounded by all these people. So I had to go to California to see you. So I told my father at that time, I said, isn't it that you wanted this? So don't complain. You wanted this and you got it. Means that he wanted me to go to do tabla. And so I told him, you wanted and you got it. So no complaint. So you want to come to California, you are welcome. And what I'm trying to say here, it's the dedication and it's your thing that if you want to, and there are a lot of musicians. Nowadays, you will find a lot of musicians also went through college and university and then they're still good musicians. Look at Buddhadev Dasgupta, for example.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Vijay Kishnu. There are so many, Dr. Kumar Mukherjee. There are so many people. My Dada Guru, Hiru Babu. So it is not that. It is what you want. If you decide, no, I want to pursue it, nobody could stop you. So when people say, well, I don't have time, I don't believe in that. Within 24 hours, you have no time. Is it possible? No. So, yeah, and I think the present generation should think about it, and the present generation, they are so talented, exceptionally talented people are there now coming up. But what I think is that their focus is not 100%. They should be focused more rather than thinking that when I'll be on the stage, when I can perform. First thing is that they have to practice learning. Learning is a very important thing. And don't think about, going on the stage. But you prepare yourself. You'll be confident. When you'll be confident, you go on the stage, just one show, that's it. And that's what happened in my case.
Yes.
When I went with that concert, after that, everybody started thinking, who is this person played with Ali Akbar Khan Sahab? So it's just that you have to prepare yourself. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Kaku. Imtiazda, you have anything you wanted to ask? And then I would like to know more about Lucknow Gharana and stuff. But please, over to you. Unmute your microphone, Imtiazda.
Yeah, thank you. Panditji, I'm going to ask you along that line. I mean, a little bit of different aspects of your life. For example, you grew up in India and then now settled in California. And often it says that when musicians, they're off from their homelands, which is India, it is extremely difficult for them to have that connection with the root and keep the same sort of stature, if you so remain. And but you did it. Ali Akbar Khan Sahab did it. Pandit Ravi Shankar ji did it. And my question is how hard it is when you're abroad to keep the same sort of influence with your music in the Indian subcontinent, for example, not only in the abroad. I've got other questions from that aspect, but this is the initial question of that series of questions.
I think it is very simple because whether you are in America or in Europe or in India, but the question is that your subject. So if you don't forget about your subject or you don't neglect your subject, doesn't matter. You want to practice in India, obviously, because you have concert. You are practicing in America or in England for yourself, or also you have to perform and teach. Practice is the main thing. Your dedication, your love. So that whether you are in India and or whether you are in US, it does not matter. And for me, the thing is that I came to America after I well established in India. The problem is that if you don't get that establishment in your own country and you go to a different country, and then when you come back, it will be very difficult to prove yourself. But if you are already established, then there is no problem. And that's what, in my case, that's what happened. Because when Ali Akbar Khan Sahib asked me to join to his college in 1973, after Pandit Shankar Ghosh left, um, I said that I'm not ready because I have to establish not only established, but well established in India first. And so I said, I cannot come now. That was in 73. Then he asked me in 76 when I was touring with Nikhil Banerjee in India, in Europe, actually, and played a lot of concert in England during that time in 76. And then I went to Japan for a 2 months tour. And at that time, also, he asked me to join in California. And I said, no. Finally, what happened that in 1980, end of 80, we had a concert in Amravati near Nagpur. And I was playing there, and I played 4 concerts there already with Shivji and with Pandit Jasraj and Hari Prasad ji, and there was somebody else. 4 concerts I already did, and then they asked me to play with Ali Akbar Khan Sahib. So when I played with Khan Sahib, and after the concert, Khan Sahib asked me to come to his hotel, at the same hotel we were staying. So I went to his room, and then he said that now you are well established in India. Now you should come to California to help me. And I had no fascination or no interest to go to abroad. And I was so happy in India. And so I said, well, if I go, maybe I will come during summertime, because summertime, nothing is happening in India. And he said, no, just 1 session is not going to work. You have to come for 2 sessions. That's what I accepted, and I came in 1981. And you know what? When I came and I saw the scene, that how difficult it was, because what Khan Sahib, Ravi Shankar ji was doing, sacrificing so much in order to establish this music over North America. It's just mind blowing. And I felt like then I have also some responsibility to help them. And that's why I stayed. But every year, from November till February, we were there in India. Every year, it was 100%. Even nowadays. But the thing is that after here, then when I go back to India, there is no problem. Why? Because I am already established. People know my name, whatever I play, they like it probably. That's why they call me. So I have no problem with it. But the problem starts if I'm not established in India and go to abroad. And now coming to abroad is so easy. Now everybody is coming, right? But during that time, I have seen that it was so hard to build this road. Now the road is already been built, so it is easy for people to come and go. You know, so but you have to have that attachment to your motherland. That's one thing I felt that, and it's very important because if you don't have that touch for your motherland, because you are here because of your motherland.
Yeah.
You prove yourself because you are from wherever you are from. So you have that responsibility and duty to serve your motherland. And so after teaching over there in India, playing and establishing, it took me 30 years. So after I established, then I came over here. And whatever I have done it here, I don't have to say, but everybody knows what I'm doing here. Now you will see that tabla is now in Indian music, not only tabla, but Indian music is in the general stream now in US, which means that if there is a music, every school, every college has their music department. And in that music department, you see that there is an Indian music program there. And most of the people are interested in that program, particularly in tabla.
Yeah. No, fantastic. I mean, because I'll forget about the next question, which is the complementary question, is basically you had your wealth of, sort of teaching and learning from India. And obviously, we are very grateful to all of the doyens like you and Pandit Ji and Pandit to actually establish Indian music there in the West. Now, what is the other way around? Meaning, your tabla playing, if you stayed in India only, you think your tabla playing would be slightly different. Now you have got the exposure to world music in a much more different sense. How that had sort of enriched your own music, see what I mean?
This is a very good question. But for me, or what I have seen, Raviji or Aligarh Khansa, they never compromised. And I don't compromise. Whatever I learned in India, whatever I played in India, whatever the way I taught over there, exactly the same what I am doing it here. And not only that, but I had to face a lot of problem with that too. Because in the West, things are very different. Because here, they don't show the teacher that respect. They call their teacher's name. Don't do that, right? So first thing when I came, I had to teach all the students those things. I said, look, this is a cultural thing, but if you want to learn Indian music, you have to know a little bit of Indian culture. You don't call your guru's name.
Yeah.
You have to pay a little respect. Then I said that from now on, I'm not going to write down the composition on the board. And you will look at the board or a piece of paper you are writing down, or when you are playing, you are following that. No. Now, from now on, you have to memorize it. You can write it down later on. You can record it, but no writing down. I stopped that. And so I had to face a lot of problems with that. But I did not compromise. And now, even a little kid a 10-year kid come to my class, they are not writing down. They're memorizing. So things are exactly the way in India I have done, or I had gone through too. I did the same thing. So I don't see any difference now. And with that, um, um, the if you look at the audience in India nowadays for classical music, you tell me how many good audience you will find what we used to see in 60s and 70s or even 80s. If you see Bollywood things, you'll see the full house. Classical music, you will find the people who are really interested will go there. Sometimes you will find in the musical concert, in the classical music, just to go there to maintain their status. So in India, I'm talking about, but things are very different over here. People are really loving music. They have changed their attitude. They are very much into the music. So what is happening? India is taking the crap which they here from the West, they are throwing it out. They are trying to get the good things from India, and those craps in India, they are buying it.
Yeah.
So it is sad, but to tell you frankly that I did not compromise and I will never compromise. And for me, it is too late to compromise myself. I cannot do it now. My time is over. I'm too old.
No, I don't think so. I think you're evergreen.
You are not old, Kapu. You are not old.
So you were telling me you never did any fusion.
That you are not old.
Pardon me?
You're telling me you never did any fusion. Sorry.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I did not do any fusion. But the thing is that the fusion, I started doing it, then I stopped it. Because I think that it is still in an experimental stage. Because there is still not, the subject matter is still not there. Now, fusion music, if you think that, well, at a drum set, tabla, kumbas, some guitar and sitar, and some vocal just combine together and becomes a fusion music. That is not fusion music. Fusion music actually started, Raviji also started doing it. Look at his fusion things. His collaboration with Philip Glass and all these people, whatever he did. Look at Ali Abul Khansa when he did with John Handy and other people, so there should be a subject matter. If there is no subject matter, you are doing everybody is just gathering together and have fun. That is, I think, it will be called as confusion music.
Thank you.
But fusion music is not bad. But I think everybody approach is very different. Everybody thinks, or they see things differently. I started doing that. I did recordings with Peter Gabriel. I did recording with the famous singer
Stevie Wonder.
I did so many things, but then I thought that I don't want to shift it in that direction. I would rather stay with my tabla, which I love, my first love, and that's why I decided I would rather stay in my tabla. But it is nothing bad if somebody do fusion because it is still in an experimental stage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kaku. There are a few comments I think it would be good to read. Rajat Shubhra Banerjee বলছেন স্বপনদা, thanks for your opinion on fusion and confusion. শিল্পী রবি এর একটা প্রশ্ন ছিল ওনার, যে পণ্ডিতজিকে একটা প্রশ্ন, এই অতিমারির সময়কালে উনি কি ভারতে আসবেন কিংবা কি ভেবেছেন? এই মরশুমে প্রেক্ষাগৃহে অনুষ্ঠান তো ভাবাই যাচ্ছে না। তো আমি প্রশ্নটা কাকুকে বলে দিলাম, এবারে কাকু সময় মতো উত্তর দেবেন। জিনেট বলছে, I'm not Indian, but I have been 10 times in India and past few years there. I feel so close to India in my heart. When I practice sitar and dilruba, I feel so much connected to India, like if it was my own mother's land. Thank you so much, Shopanji. You are so inspiring me. Thank you very much, Jinet. Thank you for joining us. Anindita Mishra, Alamgir Haq Shapon, Sukhbinder Singh, William Russell, Mom Ganguly, Anjanadi বলছে, whenever and whatever you say anything, it's our lesson. ঠিক কথা অঞ্জনাদি, আমি তো বসেই থাকি সেই জন্য যে এই শেখার সুযোগ কি কেউ ছাড়ে বলো? আরো যারা রয়েছেন সঙ্গে, আশিস কুমার রয় চৌধুরী বলছেন প্রণাম দাদা and love for নীলন। সবাইকে অজস্র ধন্যবাদ। আরো অনেক কিছু জানার আছে, অনেক কিছু শেখার আছে। মোম গাঙ্গুলি বলছে, these days sadly jamming is misinterpreted as fusion. That's very right. That's what we see over here as well. And as a result, like Kaku said, they turn out to be confusion. Fusion is gelling the meeting point of two genres of music seamlessly. Absolutely correct. Now, I wanted to speak to Nilan. As Kaku mentioned that he was well established in India, then he went to overseas, so it was okay for him. It was kind of not difficult for him to maintain the stature what Imtiaz's question was. But for Nilan was, I think, Nilan, you are born in America and brought up there as well. So what is it for you? I can understand that you are being the son of the great living legend. It might be different for you, but tell us your experience learning Indian music and practicing.
Oh,
Please,
well,
I would like to know from you.
sure. Yeah. Well, I feel very fortunate and blessed that I was able to learn this music here, given this circumstance of being able to learn with my father. But I must say honestly that I don't feel that my father is biased towards me as his son to give certain material. He teaches all of his students equally. I believe, and so my experience, though I have learned primarily, well, both privately and in group class, I've also learned when I was junior and starting, just beginning tabla, with my father's senior students. And then after I had learned the fundamentals and fundamental compositions and technique, then I started learning more with my father. And so I feel very fortunate to have that exposure to the Indian classical music here in the West, with my father, and also hearing Ustad Ali Akbar Khan Sahib's classes as well, and being able to sit next to him while he's composing and try to offer some Teka support for his classes. So I feel very fortunate in that sense.
Lovely. Kaku, please tell us about Lucknow Gharana. As many times I have spoken to you since we finalized the date, and you have been telling me that I want to talk about my Gharana and the things that came out from that Gharana. So we really would like to know more about the Gharana.
Well, Lucknow Gharana is one of the most, in tabla, there are 6 Gharanas: Delhi, Ajrara, Lucknow, Punjab, Farrukhabad, and Banaras. So there are 6 Gharanas in tabla. Lucknow Gharana came when the emperor from Delhi, his friend who was in Lucknow, requested him to send some good tabla players. And that's what happened. The emperor sent 2 tabla players to Lucknow, Mia Baksu Khan and Mia Modu Khan. These 2 brothers came to Lucknow. Actually, there are 3 brothers came, but the third one could not manage to stay there too long, so he went back to Delhi. But these 2 stayed there. But when they stayed there, and their technique was very different, because these two brothers were attached to Delhi Gharana. So Delhi Gharana style was very different. But when they came to Lucknow, they had to face all these pakhawat player, bean car, uh, dance, particularly Kathak dance, and Thumri, Dadras, all these things. And they could not cope up with it because their style was very different. And Delhi Baj, the Delhi style was based on Kinar Baj, so it is kind of softer side. But in Lucknow, playing with dance and playing with Pakhawaj and Bean, it was giving them a hard time. So then they started thinking about it, and then they changed the hand position. They took lots of phrases, lots of bowls from Pakhawat, from dance, from Nagara, and different instrument during that time, and combined it and invented new technique to play on tabla, and became a kula baj, means open baj, which means that instead of using two fingers in Delhi style, now you can use all the fingers. That's why it is called kula baj. So that became pura baj, and Punjab was already there. Their style was totally like Pakhawat style at that time. So after Lucknow, then there were two branches from Lucknow. One is Turkabad and one is Banaras. How that happened was that Mia Baksu Khan Sahib uh, did not have any son. He had one daughter. And a lot of people came to study with Mia Baksu Khan Sahib, because Baksu Khan Sahib was a great performer. There are two brothers. Baksu Khan Sahib was the younger brother, but he was a very charismatic performer, and very well educated in tabla. So he had lots of students, but one student who came from Farrukhabad, Haji Vilayat Ali, he studied with Baksu Khan, and he got married to Baksu Khan Sahib's daughter. So in their wedding, instead of giving dowry, as a dowry, he was given more than 1,000 compositions uh, as a dowry. Could you believe that? No money, but the compositions. And that's how, and so when he went back to uh, Faridabad finally, then he created his own style, and that became Farrukhabad Gharana. The same thing happened with the older brother, Madhu Khan Sahib. Madhu Khan Sahib was not a great performer like Baksu Khan Sahib, but he was a great teacher who actually taught a lot to Baksu Khan Sahib. So he didn't have any siblings or kids. So his he adopted this guy who came from Banaras. His name was Ram Sahai. So he adopted Ram Sahai ji, and he taught Ram Sahai ji. And then after that, when Ram Sahai ji went back to Banaras, he started that uh, that style and changed with the sociological. At that time, the Banaras was very different, uh, mostly Hindu culture. So that became the Banaras Gharana. So there are six Gharanas, but the Lucknow was uh, really very powerful Gharana. Lucknow, the compositions were created in such a way that you could play not only with two fingers like Delhi style, but as well as with full hand, with full pura ang, like that style, and created a lot of gut. Gut means it's a fixed compositions, like in the bandesh we have in the vocal music. In the instrumental music we have bandesh. So gut is like that in tabla. And in tabla, in the older time, if you want to be a good tabla player, and they used to judge you just playing gut. हाँ भैया थोड़ा गत सुनाओ. अरे कायदा तो ठीक है भाई, रेला तो हाँ ठीक है, तुम्हारा हाथ ठीक है भाई, कुछ गत तो सुनाओ. So through that, they used to decide that yes, this person has knowledge of tabla. So in Lucknow, guts are very famous. Particularly Paran is also another thing, and Chakradar. But Lucknow trademark became Qaida Rela, which they created this Qaida combination between Qaida and Rela. And there are so many stories about this. When I started playing in Kolkata, trying to establish myself, I had to go through a lot of trauma during that time. Because at that time, Kolkata was totally under the control of Farrukhabad Gharana. Things are very different nowadays because we accept every single Gharana, but that time, whenever I used to play or anywhere, who is this guy playing? Are, theek hai, haan bhai, theek hai. It doesn't have good talim yet. Any composition I try to play, they will say, what is that? So I remember one composition I played, and there are lots of tabla players. Even my senior tabla players were there, and my generation tabla player all sitting there. I played this composition, which is a very signature series of Lucknow Gharana, Qaida Rela. And I played, and everybody said, what is this? What are you playing here? Is it that? Band karo, are. And I was hurt, But then I said, this is not right. I have to establish this. I have to say that what I'm playing, there is a reason. And this is my Gharana stuff. This is my lineage. And then I started, because I used to play, but don't used to talk too much. But then I thought that that's not right. I have to say a few words. Then I started talking and trying to establish. And now, the thing is, now everybody is playing those compositions. Every single tabla players are playing now. And so my point here is, before you criticize somebody, you have to know first, then you can criticize. If you play something, nobody will criticize. I played this in front of our Khalifa of Farrukhabad Gharana, Karamat Khan Sahab. He never said anything. He appreciated. But then later on, this kind of group, Swapan Chaudhuri, he's from Lucknow, kill him. That kind of attitude. And it's like a group that if you are not in my territory, then you are not allowed to be. And I said, no, I want to go to your territory. If you have the guts, try to stop me. But again, here is the thing. what you want. If you are disciplined, nobody can stop you. And in my case, that's what happened. But Lucknow Gharana has so many things, like for example, Lucknow Gharana, one very, this is called Gat Farad. Gat Farad means a composition was set in such a way that it has both open sound and closed sound all mixed together. So you cannot make out and make khali one side and bhari one side. Like in tabla, bhari and khali plays a major role, particularly with kaida or rela or gat. The first part is bhari, second part is khali. It follows the teka. Like the teka, we have sam and khali. So it follows that, but the bhari means that openness, khali means close, means open by, open and close by. But the composition was set in such a way, usually the gat has to have bhari and khali. But this kind of gat, you cannot make it khali out of it. It is all combined. For example, then the na, then the na, then the na, then the na, ganan, so how can you make it khali? So these are the composition in Lucknow is just a beautiful piece of poetry, I would say. Like there are so many. So these are it's like a poetry, and the beauty of tabla, why tabla is so popular now all over the world among all the percussion, because tabla has this language. It is a language. So it can reciprocate. It can talk to you back and forth, And these kind of composition, it's like a great poetry written by all these maestros who even didn't know how to read and write. Forget about counting. So think about what they were thinking at that time. The complication here, it is so complicated rhythmically, also the bowl wise, but how they built it in such a way, it is so smooth, and also it is so poetry. So these are the things is the beauty of Lucknow. There are so many other stuff too, so many other compositions. Nilan can play something. Nilan, play that. It got. Which got do you want to play?
Huh?
Play the Do Mukhi Gat. Let me tell you one thing. Do Gat means that it has the beginning part, the phrase it starts with, when it ends with the same phrase. Like for example, see that you are starting with it, we are ending with Dhagadanagadetta.
Aye.
Dhagadanagadetta, Gadanagadetta, Gadanagadetta, Detta, Gadanagadetta. And also it ends in Anagat. Anagat means it is just before the sun. You know, in our Tala system, we always say Tala has a dasa prana, 10 lives of Tala. So one of them is, which is very important, is called Graha. Graha means that what you are accepting. So in this case, in Tala, that first beat is your Samagraha. There are two kinds of graha. One is Samagraha, one is Bishamagraha. One is even, the other one is uneven. Now, within uneven graha, the composition was set like Atit and Anagat. Anagat means which is coming. It's a Sanskrit word, which is coming. Means it lands just before the sun. Atit is which lands right after the sun. But and these are you can still find it in, because all these things came out from our Vedic chant, and it's all written there. It is still there as Anagat, Atit. You will find it there. So, but there is a restriction that Anagat should not be more than half a beat. If you come back to before the sun, say 4 beats before, and you are sitting, that this is Anagat, that is not Anagat. Anagat should be right before the sun. So here it is. See that right before the sun it lands. So these are called Anagat. At the same time, it's Domukhi, means it starts the same bowl and with the same bowl. So Nilan can play that. Play that Domukhi Gata you said. You wanted to play the Domukhi, it is written here. So play Domukhi.
That's what I just played. Dhan ditite dhatrike ditite kat ditite kata gadigene dhargite karagadikene kat ditite dhan ditite dhargite ditite kat ditite karagadikene dhan ditite dhatrike ditite kat ditite kata gadig dhargite karagadikene kat ditite dhan ditite dhargite ditite kat ditite karagadikene dha. So starting with dhan ditite dhatrike ditite and ending with same. Kat ditite karagadikene dhargite ditite karagadikene. Shall I play another one, Baba?
Yeah. Play that one. Play that one. All right. All right. So this is one that it was composed by Ustad Abid Hussain Khan Sahib, who was my Khalifa of Lucknow Gharana. But it is so poetic. Look at this, how they fitted the bowl. The beauty is, it feels like that it is going in threes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But it is actually not. It is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. But the accent goes on threes. This is the one which Nilan played. Nilan, could you play one more time? Yeah. So, for Nilan is he loves music, and that is the good thing. I said that don't think that you have to make it profession. As long as you love it, go for it. I want to see that, because the world is changing. If you want to do something else, that is fine. But if you have that love for music, do the music too. So he can justify that. And I'm happy that he is doing it. Besides, he is doing his software consultancy and all this stuff. He's doing it. But his love for music, I have to say that he practiced, because I'm very particular about it. If I don't see that you are not practicing, I'm very strong and very get upset. And that includes to all my students, because this is another thing, like when I teach, I don't hide things. I don't hide that he's my son, so I'm going to teach him special, or he's my student, I'm going to teach him in a different. I know all of us, all of them, to me, is like my own kids. So I teach all of them all together. And all my students are doing great. And so this is the thing that what Nilan played, the other students of mine also learned those compositions. But I don't want to hide anything from them, because this is the thing which I got it from my guru. He always used to say that ये विद्या जो है इसको छुपा के मत रखना. Don't try to hide your knowledge. Just give it away, give it to them, so that the vidya will grow. It will grow. It will not stop. And that's another thing that what I'm doing now. But sometimes what I feel that if you get things very easily, you don't see that value of it. Particularly in India, what I'm seeing it, that if like I give it to all my students over there, but sometimes I feel like they don't give that value for that compositions, what they are getting, So this is one of the things that like we had to beg to our teacher, can I have this composition? Can I have that? Yeah, when the time will come then. But I don't do that, because I had to go through that, and I didn't like it. So all my students If they have any question, like every day, some students call and Guruji, I have some question. I say, okay. So, so these are the things happening. Okay.
Kaku, with your permission, we'd like to hear more compositions from Nilan, if he doesn't mind.
With
Nilan, sure.
can I ask you one small question about a composition?
হিন্দল একটু তোমার মাইক্রোফোনটা লাউড করো, একটু তোমার কথাটা ভালো শোনা যাচ্ছে না।
এখন শোনা যাচ্ছে? Is it okay?
হ্যাঁ, বলো।
So, Kaku, I just wanted to ask you one small question. I heard this composition from you in a workshop, in a recording where you taught a workshop in Austin long back. There was a composition which I very much liked it, and you said it is a very poetic composition. It's a rela, I think, probably by Khalifa Abid Hussain Khasai. It is dhen dhenna ghadanag dhenegene nag dhenna ghadanag terekete tak dhenegene dhage terekete dhenegene dhenegene nag dhen nag tin naragene tin tinna kedanag tenekene nag tin na kedanag terekete tak dhenegene dhenegene nag, something like that. So,
yeah.
So this is a rela, right, Kapu?
Kaida rela.
Kaida rela. Okay, I see. So can we hear it a little bit from your hands today? If it is, if you bless us with some, what can I say?
ভাগ্যিস তুমি বললে, আমি তো সাহসই পাচ্ছি না। আমি জানি সামনে তবলা রাখা আছে স্ট্যান্ডের উপরে, সেটা আমি জানি।
ভাই আমি এখন কি বাজাবো, আমি এখন বুড়ো হয়ে গেছি এখন আর।
কাকু প্লিজ ডোন্ট,
ওরা এখন ওদের বাজাবার সময়।
কাকু প্লিজ, কাকু।
এটা হচ্ছে,
I think this is the moment that everyone have been waiting for.
Can you see the hand?
একটা বান্দেশ পুরোনো কালের পুরোনো স্টাইলে একটা এইভাবে বাজানো হয়। এরকম বহুত আছে। তো এখন
Indeed, Shantanu, I 100%, not only me, I think everyone, whoever is watching, they say we are blessed today that we finally on a Facebook Live hearing Kaku. And
you see, the thing is that because in the beginning in my career, at that time I was playing tabla. I was very disciplined. Well, everything was fine. But now things are very different. I am totally in love with my tabla. In fact, whenever I see, I feel like just grab it inside me. It's just that I feel like that he's talking to me. And sometimes if I don't spend too much time, then I feel like he gets very emotional. The sound gets different. This is so unique in my experience, what I'm noticing. Sometimes we are playing the tabla, same tabla. I'm playing now. Maybe after in the evening when I'm tuning this tabla, it is very different. And I said, it's the same tabla I played this morning. It was fantastic. In the evening, why it is sound like that? But it is nothing to do with the tabla. It is me. It is myself. Why? Because my focus is not there. That's why the tabla sounds different. So, these are the things I am experiencing now. So I start loving it more. And I don't pay any attention to any other things, whatever it's happening. I just have my faith on my tabla, and I know my tabla will make me happy. And that's what I'm doing it now. It's not just when I'm going to play, whom I'm going to play, this and that. Well, I have to call this person to give me the publicity. I'm not into it. I feel like it's my wastage of my time. I would rather spend my time with my tabla. So that's
Now,
what I'm doing.
one very important question, with everybody's permission, I want to ask Kaku, that you have a long-lasting relation with Ustad Ali Akbar Khan Sahab. Everybody knows that. The world knows that. History has been created already. So I just wanted to ask a very important question, being a tabla player, that how it is important to study the style of an instrumentalist for a tabla player in his life, whom he is coming up with, or how, and also at the same time how the very good relation like dada bhai or whatever it is, son and father, that relationship comes very close, how it affects the music on stage and off stage, how it affects the music as well. That is, I think I'm able to put my question in the right way. I think Kaku understood.
Well, in my
Do you think
opinion,
it's very important to have a very good relationship, and that kind of affects the music as well when the days pass?
yeah. Well, it is first of all, it is the understanding. It is the understanding. For example, when you and your brother, if you both of you, if you have a good understanding, then there is no problem. But if there is a lack of understanding, then there can be a lot of problem. So whether you are talking about son and father, student or father, brother and brother, or brother or sister, basically it is the same. And so first of all, it's the same thing when you are accompanying with somebody else. See, the thing is about tabla that it is not only a solo instrument, but it is accompaniment instrument. When you are accompanying with somebody, first of all, do not underestimate that person whom you are accompanying. Maybe he is much junior to you. So what? When you are on the stage, both of you has a music. So music is your God. So do not underestimate. Number three, which is very important at that time, do not think about what you are going to play and trying to compose or counting that I'm going to play this PI, this PI, this PI. Don't. Pay attention to the person whom you are playing with, what he is playing. Listen to him. So what happens with that? That when finally the time comes and when you are joining with him, you feel like that it will sound like one music, not two different music. But if you don't pay any attention to his, say, you are playing with the sitar player. When he is doing the alap, you are not paying any attention to them. At that time, you are calculating. But if you pay attention to his alap,
then the music
you understand that what he is trying to say, what he's trying to create. And being a tabla player, your job will be not to destroy it, not to kill it, but to support it so that it can reach to its goal. And if you listen to this alap, when you come to your time, it will match so nicely that it will sound like just one. And that's what, the listeners, when they are listening, they will appreciate that. Wow. So it should be like that. So just to answer your question, the answer is this. And we don't do that. And it's the understanding. The main thing is understanding and your patience. You have to listen to it. You are thinking about, well, when can I play my dere dere so that I get clapped? And when the time will come, you play your dere dere. That person, but you have to see when, suppose one person is singing a Rabindra Sangeet, Keno chokher jole bhijiye ganta. তুমি সেখানে আরম্ভ করে একটা লাগিয়ে এমন মারতে আরম্ভ করলে তোর চোখের জল কি ও তো সব জল বেরিয়ে গেল। So this is the thing that you understanding you, and also not underestimating. Whoever, always remember this.
Right.
And always you can learn something. Like when you are accompanying with somebody, it is basically you are learning. And so my thing was that playing with Kansa, it changed my attitude. Like in the beginning, when the tabla used to come, there was a big utan. The tabla then come to some and applaud this and that. Playing with Kansa changed my whole attitude. I started playing just maybe 4 beats or 2 beats. Some. Why? Because it matches so well. This is the thing you have to understand. Whatever you play, but accordingly. Don't try to break it. If you see that somebody you are playing with is playing only 1 cycle, and here you are playing 4 cycle, it is not matching. And when your time will come, then you show your expertise, but not before that. Don't have patience. Music needs patience, and I think that is very important. Is that okay?
Thank you. কাকু আরেকটু কম্পোজিশন শুনবো, হিন্দোল, কামলবীর জি, ইমতিয়াজ দা, তোমরা কি বলো? আরেকটু কম্পোজিশন আমরা নীলানের কাছ থেকে শুনি।
Nilan, could you play that? That composition, it's just that.
क्या बात, वाह, very nice.
वाह।
This Chakradar, what he played, it is first avartan, the first cycle lands on 16 feet. The second avartan, it lands on 16 and a half. The third one comes on some, on 17 feet. So there is, I was thinking about this, sorry. The Chakradar, it's 3 times. But Chakradar also comes with 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. So I'm just telling you one Chakradar, which is 4 times. And this Chakradar, the Tihai is not there, it is Chauhai. 4 times Chauhai with 4 times Chakradar. Then
Aye.
4 times Chakradar with 4 Chauhai. Like so these are all old compositions, old style, but it is so beautiful. There is another one is there are so many. This I am so fortunate because people will kill me if I say this, because this COVID thing helped me a lot. Because my concert is cancelled. I cannot go out. I cannot fly now. It's all stopped. So what to do? Staying at home. So I am going through all my old notes, what I learned from my guru, analyzing that and going through it, remembering those things. Now I do two things, that and cooking. These two things I'm doing nowadays. And so the days, this Chakradar and all this stuff, it is so beautiful. Like there is then the nana, then the nana, then the nana, then the last cycle I'm thinking.
একটু ধীরে ধীরে আজকে আপনার
ধীরে ধীরে নিয়ে কি হবে?
ধীরে ধীরে না পেলে আজকে আসরটা পুরো
ধীরে ধীরে তো ও তো আছেই, অনেক বাজিয়েছি ধীরে ধীরে।
না, এটা আমার কান ধরে আমি একটু নাকে খড় দিচ্ছি। আপনার যে ক্যাসেটটা ছিল ক্লাসিক্স ফর প্লেজার, রমেশজির সঙ্গে আপনার যে ক্লাসিক্স ফর প্লেজার থেকে বেরিয়েছিল, কনকর্ড থেকে একটা ক্যাসেট বেরিয়েছিল, ওটা আমাদের শুনে শুনে প্রায় মুখস্থর মতো হয়ে গেছিল। তো তাতে আপনি সমস্ত মানে ভালো ভালো জিনিস সব লখনৌর বাজিয়েছিলেন। তাতে একটা গাত আছে যেটা আমার ভীষণ ক্লোজ টু হার্ট, একটা গাত আপনার থেকে শোনা। সেটা যদি একটু আজকে আপনার হাত থেকে শুনতে পাই এবং সবাই যদি শুনতে পায় আমার খুব ভালো লাগবে। সেটা হচ্ছে ওই, আমি বোলবাণীগুলো অত ভালো জানি না, মাফ করবেন, ধাক এরকম টাইপ তাদের
এটা না
না না, এটা তিনটে মুখ আছে, ধাক
মনে পড়ছে না।
এই রে, আমার এটা খুব আজকে আমি ভেবে ভেবে রেখেছিলাম যে
Panditji, I mean, can I ask a question? Because I'm from a very layman person, from tabla's point of view, because it's for me it's very interesting how Hindulda is requesting you a lot of his sort of close to heart compositions. Now, what I think it's quite important, I think I mean, I don't know whether you would agree that the reason that Mozart, Beethoven, all those people are still relevant in this century even is because they kept the script, whatever they kept, and it can be followed, and it is still important. And what I feel is quite important, like maestros like you too, because you have got the wealth of sort of compositions with you, and and I'm not sure whether it's possible to teach all of these to your students so that that can live on and on and on. Do you feel, in terms of as a kind of a futuristic project could be taken, where all these rare compositions or your own compositions, you could do a video library, or maybe we can put it out, I mean, publish it, and also in the written and audiovisual publications can happen so that it remains with us forever and upcoming, not this coming generation, generations after generations. If anyone wants to learn Lucknow Gharana, they can just click and at least have the glimpse. Obviously, you did Guru Shishya Parampara type of teaching, but at least there will be something. Otherwise, I feel that we have lost lots of treasure over the years. Not from tabla, from music, any part of Indian classical music. We do have this problem, that not problem, but this issue where I would say that the teachings, generations after generations, may have lost few of these treasures in the past that we had.
You are absolutely right, and thank you for asking me this question. I already started doing this an archive project.
Excellent.
And it's the work has been done a lot, but it's not complete yet. But I will say we are already half through now, because all my teachings from 1981 till now, all the teachings, the materials, including audio, video, will be available online for everybody. Plus, whatever I learned from my guru, everything will be there. And so it will be beneficial for the younger generation, for generation that wants to study tabla more or doing research or whatever. It will be helpful for them. So I already started doing this, and it is going in full-fledged way, and that's what is happening now. Not only writing, also with the notation. So it will have notation, it will have audio, it will also have video.
Fantastic.
So yes, we are doing it because I know what you are saying, because this is the problem with our North Indian classical music, that we don't have that preservation. So lots of great composition is gone because it's like a Guru Mukhi Vidya. So it's teachers to student. But if we look at in South, every single details is noted down, so they can go through it. But we have this problem, and that is one of the reason. If you look at it in Hindustani music, we have so much controversies, about the ragas, so much controversies about the composition, so much controversies about the talas. It is because of this, because nothing is written down. So I think it should be done in that way. But so I already started, and we have a group of people are helping me. Milani is also involved with it. All my students, one of my students, he's playing very good. William Russell, he is also doing this. He's involved with it. I have a bunch of students. are doing it. And so, yeah, probably in
this is
November, we are November or December. By that time, we will show our progress, what we have done so far. Online, we'll show a little clippings of what we are doing.
Yeah.
And I think
Neelam, something in
yes.
line to this?
Just to add to exactly what my father has been saying, this has been a massive effort that was actually first brought. Well, the idea has been around for a long time, but this is an initiative that is actually happening through the Ali Akbar College, and Mary Khan has done a lot of work to bring this project to fruition. Mary Khanji, and so this is, I think, our third or fourth year collecting data and material from as long as we can find it, but specifically focusing on the year that my father came to the States in the early 80s, 1980, 81. And like he said, it's a compilation of audio, of video, of photography, and of course of his teachings of the class. In order to make this project really come to fruition, there's a lot of cost also associated with it. And so we are actually about to start I believe it's our third, it could be our fourth year of fundraising for this project. So you'll see all of in order to make it accessible on the cloud, online for everybody, it will require additional funding. So you might see, information about fundraisers. So just take note of that, and then everybody can enjoy this project, and it'll come to fruition, and the material will be available for future students down the line. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I have Jim Santiwen saying there is an archive being created right now to preserve Swapanji's teaching over the last 40 years here in the USA. So I think he's talking about the same thing.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm saying, that Jim is one of my senior students. He's a great musician himself, but he's playing also. He had been to India many times. India is like his second home. So he's also involved of doing this. He is helping a lot. William is there, and a few other people also helping a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it will be available to everybody. It is not that, but yes, I don't want people who are just buying it or, just for fun and looking at it. No, I don't. Well, there will be some kind of restriction. People who really wants to learn or doing research, it will be available for them.
Jim is here online watching us, Kaku. He's saying Pranam Guruji. I also have Sandeep Paul, যারা আমাদের সঙ্গে প্রথম থেকে ছিলেন তারা এখনো রয়েছেন। আমি বুঝতে পারছি এরকম অনুষ্ঠান ছেড়ে যাওয়া তো সোজা কথা নয়, আসলেই সোজা কথা নয়, আর এরকম অনুষ্ঠান তো দেখাও যায় না সহজে। ইন্দ্রনীল মল্লিক রয়েছেন সঙ্গে, সনাতন গোস্বামী, তাপস বেরা, চয়নিকা চক্রবর্তী, Sitkar Gupta, আমাদের one of our NEDs from India joining us, Laju Gupta, Davinder Singh Lambaji, Orunabhu Bordhan. Orunabhu বলছেন, thank you Kalakar Arts for bringing these blessed moments to all of us. I was a student of Sri Sukumar Moitra, Panditji student. My Guruji is no more, but today listening to Sri Pandit Swapan Chaudhuri reminded me of him. My pranam to everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, Orunabhu. কালীকৃষ্ণ কাকু, কালীকৃষ্ণ গুহ, প্রখ্যাত কবি, কলকাতা থেকে লিখছেন, তবলা বাদনে বাঙালি যা উন্নতি করেছে তা ভাবাই যায় না। আনন্দ তিওয়ারি রয়েছেন সঙ্গে, শান্তনু গোস্বামী, আরো অনেকে রয়েছেন যারা এরকম একটা সময়ের জন্য অপেক্ষায় ছিলেন যে ফেসবুক লাইভে একজন লিভিং লেজেন্ড স্বপন কাকুর মতো অত দূর থেকে আমাদের সঙ্গে রয়েছেন, এত কিছু আমরা শিখলাম। Kamalvirji, do you have any other questions? We are almost coming towards the end of the session. I didn't keep a time limit today, so I'm okay with it.
No, I don't have any more questions because all the questions I was going to ask, he has already replied to those. And he replied everything in detail. So obviously no more questions. But one or two things I appreciated a lot was that when you're accompanying somebody, you listen to the main artist and then pick from there you will know his feelings, what he's actually trying to express. So that's a very great tip for the all the tabla players, because as a accompanist, I accompany on the violin with many artists, and especially when I'm accompanying the light music artists. So when there is a serious kind of piece, I'm playing sarangi type of piece where it's mostly alap style, sarangi style, and most of the tabla players, they will start playing their tukdas in between, which disturbs me, disturbs the all the thought process, which accompanists shouldn't do. They should go with the thought of the artist who is actually. So that was a very great tip. I hope all the other tabla players are listening to that and will obey and follow those kind of
That is
tips.
very
And also
important.
one example, very important. I always felt like, and one another thing he said that when Imtiaz ji asked about that living in the West, have it influenced your playing due to the where you are living and the music around you? But he said no, he stick to his originality, and this is our heritage. And if you have what's one of the best thing, why to change it to start with? And I have an example of that. And in 70s, Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, when he came to India after a very long time, I think he came after about 20 years, and a lot of jealous musicians used to spread rumors about him that he now lives in West. So he cannot play a piece more than 15-20 minutes long to please the Western audience. They can't listen to an hour or long piece or something. So he was requested to do the national program of music on all India radios. And believe me, he played 1.25 hour of just alap out of 1.5 hours in Rag Darbari. Only 15 minutes with tabla to shut those people that living abroad don't mean that you change your musicality or your music goes down. So Pandit ji is giving the same example, same thoughts he have. So this is the quality of legends, that they stick, their riyaz never goes. They they live in their riyaz. And riyaz is their main thing rather than performances. And that helps. Thank you
Yeah,
very much for that.
yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. You cannot change it, and it should not be. You know, wherever you are. You know, if you are from Calcutta, you go to Kashmir. Are you going to change your reward pattern or your music? So if you come from
Yeah.
Calcutta to California, you don't have to change your pattern. You can be the
No,
same person, right?
that's right.
It is like it is like I have seen a lot of people they forget about their own mother tongue. But can you really?
No,
It,
you can't.
it is just showing off, right? That I'm talking in English, this accent, that accent. My point to them is, look, I said to all the Indians over here, I said, look, we are Indian. That's our identity. Our blood is from India. So
Mhm.
we cannot be American. We cannot speak like the American way, like the way Neeraj
Absolutely. Yeah.
speaks, because he is born here. I was born in Kolkata,
Mm.
so I cannot. Uh, I,
Absolutely.
so it is the same thing with our music. Like, can I change
Mm.
my music because I'm in America? No. And if you do, then you will be confused. End of
That's
the
right.
day, you'll be
That's exactly
confused that what I'm doing.
yes.
So you have to stick to
Yes.
your identity.
Yes. And that's when you go deep into your music. Anything, any field, when you are deep into that field, that becomes your nature, that becomes your naturality, everything you will do, because you are already involved in that, so that will never change. Your style will always, you will develop more and more new things, but your style,
That,
basic style will change, your accent will stay.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing which I'm
Mm.
saying that.
John
Hmm?
Reddy, Sid Kargupta asked a very
That's
important
that's what
question.
I was going to ask, Kaku. Tabla on its own is a duet between the baya and the tabla. What are their individual roles?
What are the individual roles? Means what is the individual roles of tabla and what is the
হ্যাঁ, the প্রশ্নটা হচ্ছে tabla on its own is a duet between the baya and the tabla. So what are the individual roles of tabla and baya?
Okay, it is like if I ask you, are you your parent? So your parents. So your father and your mother. So can you divide? So tabla and baya, it is not a duel. It is one. It is one person. It's the baya is the bass drum, that the bass sound, low octave, and this tabla is high octave and much thinner sound compared to your baya. So baya and tabla, it is all the phrases were created. It is a combination of baya and tabla. Without baya, tabla cannot move because baya is the steering wheel. And when we talk about all these tonal quality, or what a beautiful tone, it is the baya which brings out that nature of tabla, the beauty of tabla. So tabla cannot be playing without baya, and baya cannot be playing without tabla. So it is all together makes this sound. But there is a story that there was a tabla player, I'm forgetting his name, who was defeated. হিন্দল তোমার মনে আছে? Who was defeated in a contest, and so his hand was chopped. Huh?
এটা শুনেছিলাম, I forgot.
নামটাই ভুলে যাচ্ছি, আরে এখন মাথায় আসছে না। So his right hand was chopped. So this man started playing with his one hand, with left hand, but he was right-handed person. His hand was chopped, and he started Nana Palsi. So he started creating over 500 compositions only with one hand composition. So it's all so but if you play it once in a while, or maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, you can wear it. But then once that baya joins, it brings it. It has a very different charm. So it is basically just one. Like, for example, you are singing. Can you sing only a higher octave? You have to sing the lower octave too, right? If we look at our body, we have upper body, we have lower body. So in tabla also, we have tabla, we have baya. That makes one complete instrument. Yes, there are competition you can play in one hand, but those are special competition. You cannot play the whole thing. So it is, in my opinion, it is just one instrument. both Baya and tabla. Baya has its own phrase, but it is attached to tabla phrase. Same thing. Tabla has a lot of phrase, but it is attached to Baya phrase. Because without Baya, how can you come to some? When you are coming to some, you have to have dha or then, right? And that's with Baya. If you go to ta, that means you are in Kali. So I think it's all together. But it is a good question.
Thank you, Kaka. Thank you for such
Can I just
lovely.
request one thing, Chandani? Because, I think Hindulda requested all his Bandish, his composition requests. But may I request one composition from Guruji, your own creation?
I have a lot of composition which I created. One of them was that, which is all my students, they love it. I composed one composition. I have to tell you this because I had one very promising student. His name was Uttam Chakravarti, who was here too. He came to California. I brought him here. And he was very close to me, and he was playing so good. I had so much expectation from him that this guy will keep continuing this gharana. But unfortunately, when he was like 41, 42, he passed away. He had massive heart attack, and but I composed one composition what was his favorite, and I had to play every time whenever he used to sit next to me on the stage, and he said, "Guruji, could you play, please? Guruji, could you play, please?" So that one is a Chakrada. Then the nana, then the nana, then the na, then the na, then the digda, 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 ta, digda, 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 So this kind of composition. I have lots of composition which I composed, and yeah.
Yes.
But this one I said because it reminds me of because he was very close to me.
Sure.
But he passed away.
I don't know what to say after this, after hearing this composition and all this And Kaku has spent over 2 hours time with us. I just couldn't believe it. Thank you, Kaku. We are almost towards the end. It's quite late in India. Thank you, Hindul, for staying up. How could you not? You are a part of Kalakar as well. So, and special thanks to you, Hindul, my good friend, because I know Swapan, Kaku, and Nilan through you.
No
So,
problem.
thank you so much. Thank you. And
Thank you, all of you.
Kaku, if Guruji, as I said, I always feel my Guru's presence around me, and
Thank you so much.
they are listening to the program today. I'm sure Guruji is so happy to see you. And Kaku, with your permission, we would like to end today's program with Nilan's whatever he wants to present.
Okay.
It's the next generation Guru Shishya Parampara. So he's our next Guru, and then
Wow.
Wow.
wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Shantanu says, time stands still when maestros like him speak and teach. Absolutely. Indrani Datta, what incredible fortune to have so much wisdom shared with us this evening. জয়নিকা বলছে বায়া তবলা সম্পর্ক তাহলে আমাদের চোখের মতো। ইন্দ্রলীন মল্লিক, thanks to Kalakar Arts UK for this wonderful program. সুব্রত ভট্টাচার্য বলছেন প্রণাম স্বপনদা। প্রণাম কাকু। আমাদের সবার পক্ষ থেকে thank you so much for teaching us. Thank you so much for your blessings.
Thank
And
you. Thank you so
thank
much.
you for your support and for being with
Thank
us.
you, Nilam.
Thank you for to everybody listening, and the questions were great. I really enjoyed the questions, and I wish everybody will be good and be safe, because we are going through this pandemic things. It is it's just creating a lot of problem, and I feel sorry and very sad for those young generation who are really needs help, because they cannot get any money from playing outside nowadays, and I trying to help as much as I can, and God bless them, and but we will pass it over soon. It's just that we have to have patience. Maybe we did some bad karma, and it's the result of that. But whatever is happening, it's good for us. That's what I think, and we will pass through. And so be safe and happy, and happy Durga Puja. Enjoy Durga Puja.
প্রণাম নেবেন। ভালো
Thank you.
থাকবেন, সুস্থ থাকবেন।
শিল্পী
Thank
দিদি,
you. Thank you very
পণ্ডিত
much.
বলছেন, তবে আমি বলে দিই শিল্পী দি বুঝছেন, বুঝলাম এবার আসা হলো না দেশে। পণ্ডিতজি নিশ্চয়ই দেশে যাবেন, তবে তার আগে হয়তো লন্ডনে আসতে হবে।
অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইন্ডিয়াতে যাবার আমার এমনিতে তো টিকিট করাই থাকে, টিকিট করা আছে, কিন্তু এই অবস্থায় I mean, in this condition, the condition is not right, and so everybody is asking me not to come. Even from India, people are telling me, no, you should not come this time. So I'm thinking that if everything goes well, I may come in January, or for a short while.
Thank you.
না আসাই ভালো। আপনি ট্রাভেল করবেন।
হ্যাঁ কাকু, সেফ থাকুন, দেখা হবে শিগগিরই। লন্ডনে দেখা হচ্ছে, হিন্দোল তোমার সঙ্গে দেখা হচ্ছে, আর
But
কাকুর সঙ্গে তো দেখা হবে।
also some people, they say that you don't need to come this time, because whenever you come, you play all the concert, and so it's better that you stay there. So
ও
don't come.
বাবা, আপনি
সবাই ভালো থাকুন। On behalf of Culture Arts and me, thank you so much,
Thank you.
and
Namaskar.
see you again.
Thank you. Namaskar. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.